All right, Miles, we got to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Look, they had everybody worried there for a second, right? It was one of those double-digit leads, but all's well that ends well. The Ravens hold on. They beat the Cleveland Browns 23-20, get above 500, maintain at least a tie with the Cincinnati Bengals, I should say, but first place in the AFC North at this point in the season. Massive win for the Baltimore Ravens. There's a lot of stuff to unpack and talk about here, but before I hand it over to you, Miles, we want to hear from Ravens fans in the comment section below. Who was your MVP of this big divisional Ravens win? Look, any division win is big. Every division is tough and competitive, especially the AFC North. You take the wins however you can get them, and you take your MVPs however you can get them. So give us the guy who you think really stood out today in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this 23-20 Ravens win.
So, Nick, I thought it was a huge win. Obviously, a divisional win is always going to be a big win. The Browns are tough. They have a great rushing attack. They have a strong defense. So to get a win against them, regardless of who their quarterback is pretty big. And obviously, Amari Cooper's pretty good too. I saw him make some plays out there. But this overall for Baltimore was not their cleanest offensive performance. They have a lot of missing pieces. They were rotating offensive linemen like used underwear. Like it was insane. Someone was going out, someone's coming in. Moses was out, Stanley was out, McCary was in, Stanley was back out. But it was crazy, but they got it done. And the defense, Nick, played lights out. And a guy who gets, kind of torched by people a lot, Patrick Queen, he had an incredible game. He was in the backfield all the time. He had a few huge stops in the backfield in the running game. He had that big sack as well. And then there's so many other guys who came out. Justin Houston coming back from injury, he's back up to speed now, got 2 sacks today. Jason Pierre-Paul batted down a couple passes in the backfield, and he was also creating all kinds of pressure. Calais Campbell got the strip sack. The defense played really strong, and, they held Nick Chubb to 91 yards, which seems like a lot of yards, but usually the Browns have 2 guys rushing for 100 yards per game. So I think that they did an admirable job against the Browns rushing attack. But
the thing that really, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, but I just think that the defense really stepped up today.
Yeah, and for me, what really jumped out is you had that good mix of veterans making big plays and some of the young guys, right? You brought up Patrick Queen living in the backfield. Calais Campbell had a big day. Justin Houston obviously returned. How about Odafe Owe getting the action with a huge fumble recovery? I think he got a couple of tackles for loss there as well. How about Kyle Hamilton finding his way on the stat sheet, his first career sack? So again, that combination of the young guys getting into the fold, getting brought up to steam in this defense as it's starting to get healthier and healthier, pairing with the veterans coming in, making big plays. They sacked Jacoby Brissett 5 times, and frankly, it should have been about 9 or 10. Brissett got away from a couple that he probably should not have. But in the end, it worked out for the Baltimore Ravens. And look, the Ravens have found some ways to lose games the past few weeks, whether it's a bad turnover, they couldn't make a play on special teams or whatever. But today they found a way to make the plays. I'm talking about that blocked field goal. I don't care about the false start call, non-false start call. Those are sometimes iffy, but it's not like the kicker missed it, right? The Ravens made the play and blocked that kick, and it follows the theme of the game is that the Ravens won the line of scrimmage. And that's what I'll focus on here. The Ravens are one of the more physically dominating teams when you watch them play. The stats can be a little misleading, but when we watch them play, they are one of the most physically dominating teams on the line of scrimmage. And we saw it all day today against Cleveland, and we saw it the very last play, essentially last play of the game, blocking that field goal to ensure the winning over the Browns. So again, I think the future is bright for the Baltimore Ravens just because for how good they're getting on the line of scrimmage, especially as they get healthier.
Yeah, and Nick, they almost found a way to lose the game. I was very nervous. I said some disparaging things about Justice Hill a few shows ago, and people really came out and got after me, but then Hill got hurt, and then he fumbled, the crucial fumble, couldn't do that. And, I think he's a good player. I think he's a great special teams player, but I just think he's too small. I think that he is a liability in the backfield at times. He did make a good block today, though, so I'll give him that on that, power option sweep run today.
With Andrews.
He had some crazy, I don't even know what the play call would have been, but Hill did make a nice little block on a corner to give Lamar the opening. But like you said, they found ways to win. They found ways not to lose. Coming in big lead, that lead starts to get chiseled down a little bit. And then you're just like, okay, is this going to happen again? I'm not so sure what's going on. And nonetheless, they find a way to close the game out. And like you said, they blocked the kick. It's not like the kicker missed the kick. It was a blocked kick. So no matter what, I would like to imagine whether it was a 55-yarder or a 60-yarder, they were going to block the kick anyways. So it was a good game. I'm glad to see Bateman back. He was doing well. He was getting involved in the game early on. I think another game or so. I'm glad to see Stanley is playing. And even though he had the illness earlier this week, he looked good in limited time. I know he was rotating in and out. But overall, like you said, a lot of guys are starting to step up. And this is the kind of win that Baltimore needs to get things back on track. You're over 500 now. You're 4-3 going in to the rest of the schedule. Time to start building some momentum, and you got to check those little things off. Like, people talked about Lamar all the time. Okay, he can't win a playoff game, and then he wins a playoff game, and then they're like, okay, well, he can't get him to the AFC Championship game. So you just gotta, they're gonna move the goalpost on you. You just gotta keep notching away at the tick marks, checking the boxes off, and I think that was a big one today for Baltimore.